Welcome to Bloom. Let us inspire you to be an empowered version of yourself and create meaningful change in this world. My guest today is Nina Maglic. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And Nina is a marketer, healer, international speaker, and now, just a few days ago, also an author. And we're going to talk about her book a lot because I think it's highly relevant for myself, certainly, and for most people listening. Nina lives in Vienna, in Austria, but works internationally and has clients all over the world. So she just expressed to me when we had our intro talk that she feels at home in the whole world, which I think is a very beautiful aspect for somebody who does healing and who's here to inspire and support others. I just very briefly will mention the name of your book. Actually, the title is very long, but I think all of it is relevant. Your book is called Healing Millions, Heal, Earn, and Impact Millions by Doing the Work You Love. Even if you start from scratch and have zero audience or business experience. I really love that, Nina, because you sort of pick up people from a place that many sensitives are at, that they really would like to build something, but they say, I do not have business experience. I would have to start from scratch. I have no idea how to do that. And I have zero or very little audience who would like to listen to me. So this is I'll just hand it over to you from here. Can you tell us a bit more about your vision? Because you have such a beautiful vision for what you do.
So first of all, hello everybody who is watching or listening, and thank you, Jole, for having me on your podcast. It's my honor and pleasure to be here. My book is called Healing Millions because this is my mission to help healers heal more people so together we can bring peace and healing to the world. As you know, like healing millions is a big mission. I cannot do this alone. I need healers to help me fulfill this mission. And that's why I wrote my book, to really help them with the business foundations, the business mindset, and help them really create something they love and enjoy, because there's nothing more like fulfilling than having a work that you love, that makes you feel excited in the morning and feeling like, oh my God, like this doesn't feel like a working, it feels like a joy and I can do it forever. And that was my mission, to really help others heal more people so we can bring more peace and healing to the world.
Yeah, you talk about, helping heart-centered healers, and I find that as an interesting way of putting it. We'll talk about what other kinds of healers are there. But you say that you want them to become powerful leaders. And that's also where our missions cross, because I'm so much about, leadership for sensitive people, that we need to step into leadership. And tell us a bit more how you see this process about becoming a powerful leader, because I think that's your aim, because the more heart-centered leaders we have, the more things will change on this planet, right?
Yes, if we want to lead people, we need to lead them by example, and we need to be that example. So what I mean by that, if we want to help people overcome the biggest fears, the biggest doubts and limiting beliefs, we need to overcome our own limiting beliefs, our own fears and doubts, because before you show up for somebody else, you need to show up for yourself. And it's really
Mm.
hard to help somebody if you don't feel well, if you have so much fear to even show yourself to the world. It's really hard to help anybody. So that was my mission, and that was the reason why I put that into the book, because I talk a lot about mindset. The first part of the book is really helping
Mm.
people overcome the biggest fears so they can do the work they love. And yeah, I just want to say, like, the more you heal, the more heart-centered you become, because hurt people hurt, heal people heal. And that was the mission I was telling there, like, please work on yourself, because being a leader is not enough. But being a leader who can lead people and show them there is a better way of living is more powerful. And we can only achieve that when we work on ourselves.
Would you say, at least in my language, that would mean we need to embody
Yes.
what we teach and
Yes.
what we lead in? And I believe that a lot of leaders on this planet right now either lead basically from the brain and not from the heart because they haven't been able to do their homework, or they have a completely different agenda from what both of us are talking about. And they embody other principles of being on this planet. And we need to start building, how could I say, change the weight, yeah, or the balance of how many heart-centered leaders there are and how many leaders there are that lead from a completely different place.
I agree with that. And I always say to people, like, your life mission and your purpose is really not about you. And that's the first thing what people need to know. Like, it's really not about you. It's about every single life you touch on this path. And when you see that, it's really not about you. It's about serving people, and everything shifts. And I also have this principle that I run my business good for my clients, good for my business, and also good for community. And that's why we give percentage of revenue to Children's Hospital in Vienna, St. Anna Children's Hospital, dedicated to helping kids with cancer. I also give a lot of other things to people like for kids in an orphanage. There are so many ways we can support community because I truly believe my business is really not about me. It's about every single life I touch. And when money is in good hands, we can do more good for this world.
Let me go a little bit deeper into that because, this aspect of serving community or serving people, I think, is a very strong current in sensitive people's personality or psyche or the way they're built. But there is so much fear attached to that. I think some of it comes out of the Christian church that, sort of says that serving others means you have to have nothing. And then there's also some other weird aspects about, I don't know, you tell me, is it a poverty mindset or is it a mindset that says if I serve, I shouldn't receive? I mean, there is so much around this aspect, and it is very difficult because if we come here with a mission that is supposed to serve others, but we keep ourselves in poverty, lack, fear, and distress all the time, we can't, we can't develop what we need to develop, and we can't be healthy and happy and actually share joy and passion and abundance and understanding, right?
You're so right, because I think that's in our society. If you have a gift, if you're helping people, like, you cannot charge for that. But you have to think about any other profession, any other industry. If you work in that industry and you're helping people, you would not second guess if you should charge people or not. And I always say, like, charge for the work you do, but you can always give back to community. You can have a free group sessions every month to give back to community. Like, if you have a money, you can do a lot of things for community. You can donate percentage to support kids, to support people who need it, to give scholarships. There's so much potential. But we all have amazing gifts, and the universe didn't want us to be broke, that we cannot serve the world. That's the most important thing. Like, you need to be paid and compensated for the work you do to feel valued and appreciated by society, and also to be able to help society. How can you help somebody if you cannot help yourself? How can you help somebody if you struggle every single day to pay bills? How can you help somebody if you feel like, if you're looking at your bank account and feel like so much stress? How can you help somebody? And the worst thing what we can do in business is also like taking clients because we desperately need clients. And that's the biggest no-no I'm teaching in my book. I said, like, choose clients that you can help and you feel aligned to work with. Don't take anybody just because you need money. And this is what is going to happen when you stop charging for like, if you feel scared to charge for money, if you feel like, oh my God, I cannot do this. And if you find client who is willing to pay, you will take that, even though it's not the right client. I think that's the really biggest problem here. Like, charge for the work you do, be proud for the work you do. You spend years and years mastering that skill and you're perfecting that and helping people. But at the same time, you can always give back to community in different ways. different ways. There's so much potential there. Scholarships, donations, support, volunteer work. There's so much we can do for the community.
Which is something when if you're exhausted, you cannot do.
Exactly.
Right? And if you keep thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to get to the next month? Even if you have the heart to do it, you generally don't, because so it ends up being an lose-lose situation for everyone rather than a win-win.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Like if you feel like scared and you feel like, oh my God, how am I going to pay all my bills this month? And you want to support community, how can you do it? First, you feel exhausted, and the second, you don't have financial resources to support them. And it's really hard.
So on top of not sort of succeeding, we also beat ourselves up because we want money so that we are better. And we want to give something to community, but so we get, to me, that is like a complete net of entanglement in which, I feel like a fish who's been caught in a net and you can't get out. So in your book, and I'm going to read now, it's chapter 3 about your success mindset. So you mention, quite a few things that compose this net. So it's the fear of visibility, it's the fear or belief of not being good enough. And one that I think is highly relevant for sensitives, the fear of rejection. Nobody wanted me, so why should they want me now? The fear of selling, which when I took your course was, really part of it. And we can spend some time on your take on how much to charge. I listened to that again this morning and I said, I will follow Nina's advice. And then you say, I think another really relevant one for empathic beings is my clients cannot afford my services. Really big trap. It's not the right time. And then the last thing is you say, let's take all of that and bring it into empowering beliefs. How do you suggest we do that?
First of all, to change something, we need to become aware of what is really stopping us. We need to explore our fears, our limiting beliefs. Like fear of rejection is a big deal. Nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to be rejected by people around us because we rely on community, we rely on society where we live. And it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard. But you know, nowadays you can be connected with people all around you that support you and love you. If your community in your country doesn't support you, oh my God, there are 8 billion people on this planet. Somebody's going to support you and somebody's going to love your work. But I want to say something that is really important. Like fear of rejection was also a big fear for me. And I would just share the story that I had. I will share 2 stories. I remember the moment when it took me a lot of time to post on social media that I'm a healer now because I was working in marketing. Now I'm a healer. And when I posted on social media, especially on LinkedIn, I received positive comments. But something most importantly happened. I received a card from my first boss, dean at university, also mentor, my master thesis mentor, and she wrote me a card and she said, "It looks like we found your calling. What can you wish for more?" Oh my God, I cried like a little baby. I literally cried for days. I still have that card, and it's really good reminder how very often we stand ourselves in a way. And if
Mm-hmm.
we want to build something, we need to overcome our fears, our doubts, and limiting beliefs. And on next thing, when you do something good for humanity, when you do something that is changing people's lives, oh my God, people will love you for that. I have friends of my parents who stop me on the street and say, I love what you do. I don't understand everything what you're doing, but I love what you do and I feel proud of you. Like friends from my parents, I haven't spoken with them for years.
Mm.
It's really fascinating. People from all around the world will reach out to you and say, oh my God, if you're doing such a meaningful work, people will love you for that. And if there's a handful of people who do not support your work, oh my God, it's not the end of the world. There are 8 billion people on this planet. You'll find your tribe and you'll find your community.
I think that is a really important point, Nina. So thanks for sharing that, because most sensitive people that I know have a really big chip on their shoulder about that. And we then have a very specific idea of whom we want to be loved by. And if these people do not comply, we zero out everybody else that is actually, telling us that we are doing great work. So since we're both very practical people, let's share a little bit about how can you get help to do that. I mean, you could buy the book, to start with, but I know you do different kinds of things. You do your healing work and the energy work, and then you have things that you offer that are about very concrete steps in the selling process. And I'd really like to share with this audience, what can you actually do or allow or make room for in very practical terms?
Yes, I still do a lot of healing, and that's usually part of my business coaching, which is so interesting because I very often we need to stop doing business coaching because we need to help people overcome their fears and doubts. Um, that's usually my membership and coaching program. But for practical reasons, I want to keep it simple for your audience. The first thing is awareness. Become aware of what's happening and how you block yourself. You can write it down. The second thing is most of these amazing healers that are listening have great skills, and start using your skills to help yourself. And the third thing is work on your mindset. Work on your mindset and surround yourself with the people who believe in you. Very often we allow other people's opinions or one person's opinion to overshadow the work we do and overshadow all amazing effects we have on other people's lives. So that's the very important thing. Find your community. Because if you think about cactus can thrive in desert. But if you take cactus in the rainy environment, it's going to die. The same is with business idea, with your burning desire to help others. If you're in the wrong environment, it's going to be very challenging to do this. And that's why I always say mindset, community, and strategy. These are three important components. And yeah, when it comes to releasing your limiting beliefs, also, I just want to talk about fear because it's very important. Fear is always attached to pain. Think about what kind of pain you're trying to avoid. And think about, is it true? Because very often people have pain and have this limiting belief attached to the pain when they were children. And nowadays, 30, 40 years after that, the situation looks completely different. And you still hold that belief as you were like 5 years old. And start thinking about, like, challenge yourself. What is the belief I have? Is it true? Is it really true? And I always love to find like examples. If one person can do it, I can do it too. I never accept no as the answer. It must be a way to solve that. It must be a way to find a solution. That was my mantra my whole life. No is not a no. Just ask another person and you'll find your answer,
Like that.
because this is the way how it works. Maybe it's not that people don't want to tell you or help you. It's like maybe they don't know.
Yeah. 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 Like that. I sentence I told my children is, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Yes.
Right? So at least have the guts to ask and maybe learn how to ask, or be more discerning about whom you ask. But don't stop inviting things in just because you have this belief that it won't happen anyway. Then it won't, because you never opened the door, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. You never know what is going to happen. Like, I had like miracles happening just because I was willing to ask the second time and another person.
Yes,
Cost me
very.
nothing to ask. Like, it was just my courage to ask another person.
Exactly. And I think courage is a very good word here. We both know that to face your fears takes courage, but to not face them, in my experience, is a really shitty place to be. So, at some point, I think you need to come up with the courage to simply decide.
Yeah, I agree with that. And sometimes the biggest problem stopping people from healing is belief. They have to relive their trauma, they have to relive their pain. And that's really not the case. If you use, for example, energy healing and some other modalities, you can really release the pain without reliving it again and again. That's
And
why
a
I
lot
love it.
quicker, and a lot
Yeah, much
quicker,
quicker, much, much quicker.
much, much quicker. So I'd like to sort of segue into, another area, but it has to do with what we just talked about, and that is that you shifted from working with Fortune 500 companies to what you do now, healing millions and helping, healers. And I think that's a very gutsy thing to do. And can you tell us a little bit more on how you came to decide that and said, no, I'm good at this, but my mission is actually a different one?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I have been in marketing for more than 18 years now. And in 2009, my husband and I set up an advertising agency in Vienna. I started working with companies, and among them were Fortune 500 companies from, yeah. And that was a really great experience. But then I became very sick. And when traditional medicine couldn't help me, I reached out to an energy healer. And in just 2 sessions, I became pain-free. And oh my God, my whole life shifted. After 18 months begging for help, I was finally pain-free. I started learning about energy healing just to help myself. And all of a sudden, like I was practicing with different people. And all of a sudden, they started recommending me to their friends and family members. And I was like, oh my God, I was booked weeks in advance. And I didn't really like, there was a moment in my life I realized this is not a hobby anymore. This is a real business. And it took me a lot of time and courage to post on LinkedIn. And that event happened with my former boss when I got the card. And then I started doing energy healing full time. But like after a couple of years, I was like, you know what? I feel trapped between these two worlds because I'm
Mm,
still a marketer, I'm still a healer, and I thought I have to keep these identities separate because, they are not connected somehow. But I realized, no, 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 I want to help healers. And there was a very important moment in my life when I decided, okay, I was working with a lot of people from with different backgrounds. And I realized I really cannot help everybody.
mm,
In that sense, like not everybody is open and willing to be helped. But not maybe they are not willing to be helped by me. Maybe somebody else can help them. And especially women, like I worked with a lot of women who were like abused, depressed, and a lot of things happening there. And for me, it was really heartbreaking to finish the session and feel devastated after like help, like after the session, because for me, it was like I see what you see. I relived the moment with you. I just see everything what happened to you. That's my gift. And it was really painful for me. And I said like, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to
mm,
help myself after this because it was a lot of like I don't know what happened in one moment. I had a lot of women, and I took a break to like heal myself after that, after those sessions because even though I, the thing I made the huge mistake, I was like wanting to help everybody without protecting myself and my own energy. And I took a lot of energy from other people. And it
mm,
really took me a lot of time to heal myself after that event. And I promised myself, I still kept thinking about these women, and I promised myself I will find a solution. And the solution was actually the birth of Healing Millions. I will help other healers so they can help them. If I cannot help them, like because for me it was too much emotionally, I was like I couldn't help anymore, like because I had to take a break. And I promised myself I will find a solution for these women. I will help other healers so they can do the work.
mm. And you can help those healers that maybe have, also very important skill that have very important skills to step up and be visible and, have a good life with the talents that they have.
Yes.
Um, and you stepped into more of your potential by saying, but I'm also a marketeer. I'm also somebody who loves business. And I don't need to decide being one or the other. I think this is a really, really important point that
Yeah, I
many
just
healers.
realized
Hmm?
that was my biggest strength. I love marketing. I had it in my blood. But at the same time, I was a healer. And when I denied who I really was, I wasn't fully happy. I was trapped because I always tried to like keep those identities separate. and I got lost between two of them.
Yes, and in a way, so many healers are not gifted business people. So what they actually needed from you was somebody who understands healing, who knows how you can get trapped into things, who knows what it takes to support the people to get out of these belief systems that they cannot have, make a living out of it.
Yes, exactly. I went through whole experience to understand the other side of healing so I can serve healers to fulfill their purpose.
Mm. When you talk about energy healing, what do you mean exactly?
So what I mean exactly is there is a life force energy in every single one of us. Every single one has an energy, and it's scientifically proven that we are energetic beings. When scientists started researching our bodies, they found out, yes, bodies are made of organs, organs are made of cells, cells are made of molecules, and the molecules are made of atoms. When they started researching small parts of atoms, they found out there was nothing there, just empty space and energy. So basically, you are 9.9999% energy, 99.999% energy, and 0.001% matter. The only thing what we see is less than 0.001%. But we are so obsessed with these 0.0001%. And the thing is, every single thought, every single feeling you have is vibration, and it vibrates a certain frequency in your body. And if you if you're feeling sadness, if you're feeling like if you're feeling like guilt, blame, shame, all these emotions, like they are usually vibrate very low in our body. And with time, what happens, it causes like emotional blockages, energetic blockages, or energetic blockages in our body. And then these energetic blockages influence our body and can cause some illness to be created. And every single person has energy. Every single person knows like how to use the energy. Like if you're listening to me, if you're talking to me, if you're eating, sleeping, doing whatever you want, you're using your energy. Otherwise, you will not be here. What energy healing does for you is basically teaching you how to use it in a way that serves you best, how to release those like energetic blocks and emotional blocks inside of you so you can be happier, more fulfilled, and yeah, live life you truly want. That's the only way that energy healing does. And energy healing works very specifically, like everybody has access to this unlimited energy available to everybody. During the session, what an energy healer does is basically channeling the energy to you and showing you that this is possible for you, and showing you your blocks so you can release it. And that's basically it.
I think this is a really big part of it. In my understanding, and I know you work with that as well, is, because we're surrounded by energy beings, we also get entangled with others. And, even in trauma, in trauma work that we've both done a lot, there are ancestral entanglements, for example, or entanglements with entities that are maybe in the place that you just happen to live or whatever. So I always feel that especially sensitive people need to get energetic education, because we are so much more open. We're not just open to the overwhelm of other people's emotions or noise or smells. We can actually also get overwhelmed by energies, or we can get stuck in the energies of other people, and that can create fears that are not ours. So I think that needs to, some people will reject this and say, well, that does not exist. But for those who accept that, and most sensitive people that I know accept it in one way or another, depending on which language they use, I think in order to heal, we need to actually look at that very clearly. And especially also if we want to build something, if we carry around, fears from our ancestors about, business not working or not being allowed to have a business because you're a woman, it does something with you, right?
Yes, I just want to say something about highly sensitive people. Like highly sensitive people have a highly sensitive, like highly developed gifts and skills. They just don't know how to use them, and these skills can really be life-changing for so many people when they learn how to use them. And you become very sensitive to everything around you, everything, like you said, like smell, like how somebody feels, all kind of things. As energetic beings, we are constantly changing energy with other beings around us. And it's not that people are doing that like intentionally, I'm going to send you my energy and I'm going to attack you with my energy. No, people don't even have a clue that they are doing this. Um, energy exchange happens so much like and at the frequency level. And especially as a highly sensitive person, you need to learn how to manage your energy well and how to keep your energy clean. As you mentioned, like there's a lot of influences from the environment, from the place you live. If you're, for example, if you're commuting to the work, oh my God, you pick up energy from so many people. You need to learn how to release that energy that is not yours. And what you also mentioned is so important, energy that is passed on us from our ancestors. Oh my God, that it's a big deal because we have energy and we have like what I really mean with energy, we have a lot of fears, a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of doubts that are passed on us generationally, 7 generations before us. And if you think about 7 generations before us, the life was really, really hard.
Mm,
But now we have completely different conditions where we live, and if we don't have so much like danger as they had 7 generations before us, but we still have that fear that we carry around.
mm.
And it's like, especially highly sensitive people who have such a well-developed skills need to learn how to protect yourself, how to release all these fears that are not even theirs. That's really true. Like sometimes we have fears, we have no clue why we have them. Maybe we picked up from persons around us. Sometimes you will enter the room and you will feel completely different. Maybe you will feel sadness, maybe you will feel anger, and you have no clue why you feel that. And the reason is you just pick up somebody else's energy. And if you know how to help yourself using tools that are available to you and they are really simple and easy to use, oh my God, that can be life-changing. All of a sudden you will feel like yourself again, which is a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad we talked about that and that people understand there are tools and techniques you can learn in order to clear your field, to protect yourself, to um, they are just as practical as other things that you do, getting rid of limiting beliefs or, reorganizing your business or, like you said, don't charge hourly because you actually do a lot more work before and after that hourly session that needs to be, part of the equation, which and one if one understands that the energy aspect is just as real and practical as calculating whatever you're going to charge for something, I think then we are a big step nearer to healing millions because so many people still see the energy world and the practical world as two different things. And certainly for sensitive people, we just cannot do that. We can pretend to do that, but we don't thrive if we do that. That is my opinion in any case.
Yeah, but energy work can also be very practical. Like when you start learning skills, like when you start learning tools, these tools are very practical. You can use them whenever you want. So
Mm,
I think the best way what we can do is really combine both and really embrace all of us.
yes, yes, I agree. I agree with that. So, Nina, my last question to you is a question I ask everyone, and that what did I not ask you that you would like to add or say to our audience? Something that I didn't see or forget.
I think you mentioned something very important, fear of selling, and that your audience has that. And I would love to go back to that question
Mm-hmm.
because it's really, really important. So many people feel afraid to sell their services because they're thinking, oh my God, I'm doing something like I'm pushing something on somebody. And the truth is, just because you're selling something that doesn't mean that somebody has to buy it and that somebody will buy it. That's the first thing. And the second thing that I want to say, like, if you have an offer that can help people change their lives, if you have skills that can change people's lives, when you create an offer that delivers results for your clients and it provides best support, best environment, best whatever they need, you start paying attention to your clients and you know it can change their lives in, like, you know that deep down in your soul, it is your responsibility to sell it. The God, the universe, the source, however you want to call it, gave you these amazing skills, not to keep them to yourself, but to share them with the world. Because as I mentioned previously, your gifts are really not about you. It's about every single life you're going to touch with them. And if you have that mindset that you are here to serve and help people and create the best results for your clients, when you have the offer that changes people's lives, it is your responsibility to sell it. And selling is just, it's an act of service and help. It's helping your clients solve the biggest problems they're praying and hoping to get solved. And marketing is not bad, it's not evil, it's not scary. When marketing is done right, it feels like a heart-to-heart conversation with your best friend. Because marketing, what it does for you is telling people what you do and how you can help them. You know, just because, I just want to say, like, just because you had a bad experience previously doesn't mean you have to behave that way. There's always better way to learn how to sell that really serves your clients and really has beautiful conversation with them. Because I just want to challenge you to think about good sales experience. It didn't feel like a selling. It felt like a conversation. This is what I do. This is what you need. It's a perfect match. But you know, we all remember bad sales experiences, and this is why we connect sales with the bad things. But if you create something that can change people's lives and communicate that in the way that they understand what you do and how you can help them, they will buy it. There's no need to be like pushy, salesy. You just need to say, hey, this is what I do. And it's a perfect match.
Just like you had that experience when you started healing, that people, just flocked to you on their own because they were so in need of what you had to offer.
Yes, and when you create a really great experience for your clients and best results, your clients are going to talk about you. They will talk about results. They will become the best salesperson for you. You know, basically, when you start doing this work, when you focus on delivering results, oh my God, like after a few years, you don't really have to do selling because your clients are doing selling for you.
I think this is an important point. Sometimes it takes a bit of time.
Yes, it
So
takes
it's
time.
not, sometimes miracle happens, sometimes the door opens on its own, but all of this does not mean that you don't have to sort of stick with certain things for a while for people to actually get to know you, for you to get better at what you're doing, to be more specific, to be more open, to more clients. So I think if we understand that this is not, and there comes the fear of rejection in it, it's not a rejection, it's just a recalibration. And that sometimes takes more time than just half a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is a very important point, like building a business takes time. You know, building a good offer takes time because you have an offer, you present it to the audience, you get feedback, you improve the offer. You work with your clients, you get feedback, you improve your offer. It's a constant process. It cannot be done overnight. And I love what you said. It really takes time because it does take time. And it takes time for people to get to know you. You know, even though you're posting on social media, not everybody is going to see your posts. Only 3% of people are going to see what you do. And it really takes time for people to get to know you. And that's also very important. Like to stay consistent, try it and see and focus on really delivering results, paying close attention to what your audience needs and what your clients really, really need, and just create something they want to buy.
So we wrap it up here. Thank you very much for what you just added, because I had wanted to talk to you about that. So it's really good that, you circled back to it. And I thank you from my heart for having been a guest on my podcast. And because I know you're really, really good at what you do. And I love that I can bring that to my audience. So thank you, Nina.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It was my pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much.